That is part of the regional schools application. That is not part of our application. Okay? Hartford Public Schools choice is Hartford Public Schools. And then you have the regional school choice office, which is all the magnet schools. Okay? All those magnet schools are Hartford magnet schools, but they're part of the regional school choice office. Okay? All right. That's all I want to say.
Okay. So, as you all know, we have 5 organizers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and they got computers with Wi-Fi's. Okay, there's food here. If you need translation, you should meet with Araceli. Oh, but before we do all of that, we're gonna have Cecilia kind of continue to update us on everything. How do everybody feel so far?
I mean, I know it's a lot of information.
It seemed like a lot at one time, but once we get to the website, it's really not that difficult. It's a really simple website. Smart Choice is designed to be as simple as possible. But we just want to make sure that everybody have their student ID numbers, know where to get them, go to your schools to pick them up from the front desk, figure out who in your school would have that student ID number. If you don't know it, that's critical. Understanding that MLK will not have a pre-K or a kindergarten in 2010 to 2011 is very important. It's 1st to 8th grade. Understanding that achievement first grades K, 1, 2, and 3 will remain at their present location, but achievement first grades 5, 6, and 7 will be at 305 Greenfield Street, the former Fox Middle.
And I just want to talk briefly about Dwight and Belizzi. Okay? Dwight and Belizzi will be the Asian Studies Academy at Dwight/Belizzi. Okay? So they're kind of combining those two schools. Dwight will house pre-K through 2nd grade. Belizzi will house the 3rd through 8th grade. But they are both called the Asian Studies Academy. Okay? Anybody have any question about that? I just want to make sure you understand they're at 2 separate locations. Dwight will have pre-K through 2, and Belizzi will have 3 through 8. Okay?
I don't know, was it Project Concern or whatever it was called before, but what they used to do is, like, if a kid was bussed out, like, to Simsbury or whatever, and they had a younger sibling coming up, they would give the younger sibling, I guess, preference over going to the school because the older kid is there.
That still happens at every single lottery.
Okay.
What happens is, say you have a 3rd grader, okay, and you already have a 6th grader in the school. There's a spot on the application that asks you, do you have any siblings at the school you're applying to? And so you just put in their ID number, their name and date of birth, and then that is a preference for you. It's like you get preference for sibling, the distance from the school, okay, and sibling preference to school. I forgot the other one, but you get a certain point system based on other information that you add into it. Okay, all right. And we need to stop talking about district.
Yes,
Hartford is cut into 4 zones.
Yes.
It is, the north end is the 1st, zone 1, the other side is zone 2. There's a map, I have a map for everybody, so don't worry about trying to remember it. There's zone 4, which is like Hartford High and goes down to Kennelly. Zone 4 is Belizzi and Buckley and all of those schools that are in that zone. So it's broken up into zones. It's not a district. So, and you can't walk across the street and say, well, this is in my district, I should be able to go here. It's all lottery. Okay?
Are we clear on that part? Because don't go talking about, oh, you know what, I'm across the street from Naylor, and so therefore, you know, I'm going to just walk across the street and go to school. Understand, be very clear on what she's saying. That the city now, is, as far as school district, school go, it's broken up into zones. Yes, Carla?
So when they go online to apply, is it broken into zones or is it broken into district and inter-district? When they have to make that choice.
When you go onto Smart Choices, it'll show you inter-district and district schools. But as soon as you put in your address on Smart Choices or Hartford Public Schools application, we tell you immediately what zone you're in. Okay? When you get to the point in the application where you're choosing your school, right next to the name of the school tells you what zone that school is in. Okay? And you can also access Smart Choices through the Hartford Public Schools application. You don't have to bounce back and forth if you don't want to.
I have one more other question. Now, is Capital Prep a
magnet
Hartford magnet?
It's a Hartford magnet school.
Okay.
Capital Prep, Classical Magnet, Sport Medical, Annie Fisher, Webster, all of those are Hartford magnet schools. Still a separate application because they're magnet, but they're Hartford magnet schools.
Okay, and they could also have that available on Smart Choice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who want? Go ahead.
So, for parents to apply and fill out an application, what is their deadline for them to have a slot come following September?
Okay. What happens is that the magnet school application, their deadline to fill out the application is February 5th.
Okay.
For Hartford Public School Choice application, the deadline is March 30th. Okay. But the magnet school application is due February 5th, but there's a cleanup period where we go through all the applications and make sure that everything is right. If I find anything that looks a little weird, I'm going to call the parent to say, you know what, you chose 3 schools out of your zone. Did you mean to do that? Because if you do, you won't get transportation. You know, so there's a cleanup period for data for magnet schools and for Hartford Public Schools. We run the lottery once everything's cleaned up and straight, and then the letters go out telling you where you got accepted. And then you have to respond. If you don't respond, this is very important. If you don't respond, you don't have a seat. You have to respond. There's a letter that says, yes, I accept, no, I decline, I don't want this placement, or I'm moving out of town, whatever the reason is, you have to respond. Because if you don't respond, that seat is given away. You have a 2-week period to respond. Okay, and it's the same as in private school. If you do not respond, your seat is, there's always a waiting list. Your seat is given away to the next child who's waiting. Okay, and if you, for Hartford Public Schools, if you do not get in one of your top 3 choices, there is a wait list created, and if a spot opens up, you get called.
And what about transportation? Because I know transportation is a big issue with some parents. So, is everyone that has the school of their choice, and if they're chosen, are they? So no.
They guarantee
transportation, correct?
No, not necessarily. Transportation, as long as you choose a school within your zone, you are guaranteed transportation. Okay. Once you go out of the zone, you're not guaranteed transfer. You have to take your child. And for some parents, that's okay. But for a lot of parents, it's not okay.
So it's real important that they
And that's why
understand.
one of the things on the page where you have to choose your schools, right at the top, it says, if transportation is an issue for you and your child, please make the school that's nearest to your home your first choice. Okay.
Do we have any questions from this side? Okay, so do we want to try to like get on this site, see what it looked like? Cecilia, do you have anything else you want to add?
Probably.
I think you covered a lot for us.
Probably.
I think you covered a lot. I think, quick question. How many of you have your student IDs today? Your kid's student ID numbers? You have yours? You have yours? Do you have your child's ID number?
My kid was getting in school now.
Oh, they just coming in, so fresh. Oh, so you don't have that stress.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so those who don't have their student IDs with them tonight, no need to worry. We have a sign-in sheet. We will follow up and get back to your house.
And you have 12 weeks.
We have 12, but we don't wait that long. If you here today, but you do.
But I also want to let people know the magnet schools give parents 12 weeks to fill out an application. Hartford Public Schools has the same 12-week window.
Exactly.
Okay, so and one of the reasons why our application is later than theirs, because what will happen is that they will run their lottery. They will let parents know whether they got accepted or not, where they're placed and everything. They will let me know how many parents have chosen to have their child go to a magnet school. Great, because then I can remove them from my list.
Okay.
So that they're not taking up a space in two places.
Okay.
And so then I can clean up my data more accurately before I run my lottery.
That makes sense.
So if anybody asks, well, how come Hartford Public School is behind Magnet? I heard from them 2 weeks prior, you know, whatever. We have to stay behind them in order to get their data so that I can make sure I take those students out of my database so that they're not taking up a seat because they already know they're going to a magnet school.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
But in that case, does that also limit the seating for Hartford students? I mean, does it, you know, once the magnet schools make their decision on who they accepting or whatever, does that mean there's less seats for Hartford students if their parents chose to?
They have 2,000 seats.
Okay.
Period.
Period.
End of
Just
story.
2,000.
They're going to
That's
take in
it.
the 11,000 applications. They have 2,000 seats. Period. They don't have any more, they don't have any less. They're not going to get some magical number someplace else.
And that's for whatever magnet school there is, it's just 2,000?
It's 2,000 seats for the city, period. Okay. Okay. And because a lot of students, one of the reasons they don't have that many seats is because they roll over.
Okay.
You know, once the parent's in there, they don't leave.
Right.
You know, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to leave. So that's why they have limited seats.
Limited seats, because
Yeah.
they just roll over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Which do you think will give the better education, the
Oh,
choice
I'm not
program or
gonna
the magnet?
I can't answer that. I really can't. I'm not even going to give you a biased answer because you need to find out the best school for your child, for your family. And that means time, distance, place, theme, number of students per classroom, teacher, principal. You may go there and fall in love with it. I mean, I went to my son's school and fell in love with it. That's why he went there. It wasn't based on anything. I couldn't afford it. I had to put his foot in there.
And Cecilia, you're hitting on something that's important. And Millie from HPO actually talked to me about this. The idea of when you pick a school, it makes sense to go check out the school before September. I mean, that
To pick out a school before you
exactly, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, like that. You know, let's think about that. Go for the tour to school. All what sound good may not be good for you.
Oh, also, once you have been placed at a school and you've accepted and you've started school, you are there for the year.
Yes.
There is no transfer.
Transfer.
I don't like the teacher. I don't like the way the lunchroom looks. There is none of that. You are there for the year. Okay? So understand that and be very choosy about your choice. I know that sounds corny, but just be very choosy.
Oh, well,
And you happen to move into
If you
another
move-
zone of a
well,
school.
that's different.
Is that,
That's
oh,
different.
okay.
Okay, if you move, that's different. If it's a documented safety issue, that's different. You know, but for the most part, you just can't switch because you don't like the teacher.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because we want to make sure that we're covering everyone. Shelters. How does that work? Do they have to have, because would that be, because they still probably would be in transition, so would they be using the shelter as the address?
Yes. Or they
Okay.
use their social worker's address.
Social worker.
Like we work with DCF.
Okay.
It's always a social worker.
Okay.
We don't have an
I
address
just
for the child.
wanted to, just in
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
because someone's at a shelter, they should still be able to
Homeless and the
apply.
shelters and DCF children, we usually use a social worker's address
Okay.
or some other address.
All right, that's good to know.
Okay.
And also, in that kind of situation, if they are in a shelter or DCF involved, don't they always provide transportation for
Yes.
those children?
Absolutely. They're
Okay,
guaranteed.
so transportation will be provided for parents who are in shelters.
And homeless.
And homeless.
It's guaranteed.
Is guaranteed. Okay, that's excellent, because we wanted to know that. We have a lot of homeless families in the city of Hartford in shelters, and I'm just so happy that the one on South Marshall just opened. The women's shelter just opened back up for families, so we'll be going over there. Okay, do anybody have any, I know we had some new people come in. We'll have somebody sit with you one-on-one if there's some other questions that you need to know, but you're prepared. You have your student ID number.
How did
So,
you find out you needed your student ID number?
I didn't. I just always keep them.
Okay.
Well, my daughter
That's
is in
great.
pre-K, but I don't know about no student ID number.
now for pre-K,
She's at pre-K somewhere?
yeah.
She go to Waverly now.
She may or may not. Ask the front desk.
Okay.
Ask the front desk.
Okay, and if you don't have it tonight, say we get on the website and we can't, don't worry. We have your sign-in sheet and we'll make it convenient for you. Okay? Dwayne, Tracy, Carla, and Aracelis will be signing people up tonight on the application. We have 2 set up right here, and we also have 1 set right here. And
And I will be taking the information for you parents that don't have student ID numbers, and I will follow up with you. And we'll make an appointment, then register you there. For you guys that don't have student ID numbers and need to go to the school and find out what the student ID number is, make sure that you signed up on the sign-in sheet, and we'll take care of that for you.
The sexy rooms,
Get that user number to put right there, okay? It should be on the right hand side.
right? here it says, go up, sorry, 19% test gain. That's awesome because that means they're improving on their test scores, and then test scores is what
You see, some of them is below average, but they're a plus in their test game. You know what I'm saying? So the school as a overall are doing good. You know what I'm saying?
Anytime you see that the test gain is high,
See,
okay.
now them all the
Now you're
schools,
gonna
the
go
district
to that
schools,
arrow.
the district schools right there. Now you can come down here, scroll down here.
Okay, now you can look at your schools. So the one with the
Scroll
blue
down.
balloons, those are schools that are in your district. The ones with the green balloon are the ones that are out of in the magnet school, like the magnet schools, you know, the kids get bused out. But the other schools, if they're not in your district, you will have to find transportation. Yeah. It tells you any schools that are out of your district, you have to provide transportation for them. Yeah, but like the magnet schools and the crack and whatever, they'll pick the children up.
So I can do this. This right up the street from me.
Okay. So take the arrow, make it go up.